Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to WWE 2K16, and the burying of Dean Ambrose continues, guys. The Authority wants us to put on a 5-star match and lose to Dean Ambrose. That's not going to happen. But our rankings at number 9, he is number 8 in the rankings, so despite the fact that we beat him multiple times, he is still above us. Maybe this win will secure our spot, I'm hoping. And it doesn't look like Ryback is here. That's good. And entrances are allowed, so this is going to be a full match. We'll see what exactly happens here, because we still got a long time until the next pay-per-view, and I guess our rivalry with Ryback is going to keep on keeping on. I didn't actually check where Ryback was in the rankings. I think we may have to check on that, because beating him should... My personal opinion is if you start a rivalry with someone in this game, this is a little tip and trick, I guess, for the people from 2K for next year. If you want to start a rivalry with someone, like when you start a championship division, you obviously can't start a rivalry with the champion right off the bat. That would be a little bit too easy. But if you want to start a rivalry with someone else, when you win that rivalry, you take that person's spot in the rankings. So if you're like in 10th and you start a rivalry with someone in the 7th spot, once you beat them, you take his space wherever he is in the rankings. I think that would probably make things a little bit easier, and also take into effect that how high they are in the rankings when you start determines their difficulty level. Kind of like when we were dealing with Super Saiyan Sheamus, when we were trying to start a fight with the champion when we really weren't supposed to. Nice DDT. It's kind of like that. The difficulty for starting a rivalry with one of the high up ranking guys when you're just starting would be raised. I think that would be a good balance for the system. Not a whole lot to talk about today in terms of wrestling news. I actually haven't paid attention to a lot of it. All I know is that the Madison Square Garden show is going to be this Saturday. I unfortunately will not be able to watch it live, I don't think. But I will be able to catch it on the network, of course. And we'll see what happens. A lot of people still... And that's going to be a hot crowd. Madison Square Garden is usually an incredibly fiery crowd, because that is the WWE's home base. That's where they call home. Just like World Class Championship Wrestling had the Dallas Sportatorium, ECW had the ECW Arena. I really think that the crowd's going to be on fire, and really hoping that somehow Ambrose is able to pull it off, or they change their plans. Actually, from how I understand, and this actually could be news, that Cena will be missing WrestleMania official. Like, it's going down. He is not going to be at WrestleMania this year. And that, to tell you the truth, tells me everything I need to know about we really want WrestleMania to succeed this year. They're offering it for free on the network, which I didn't think they were ever going to do. Or at least that WrestleMania month for April. But I really, really hope it does good business, because Vince needs to see that Cena is not... The WWE can get along without John. And that's the important thing, because there's been multiple times where Vince or the bookers or whatever have determined that Cena needs to be if ratings are down, well, we need more John Cena there. And sometimes that does happen if he's in a good rivalry, but got to give some other people a chance to shine. But I know in Vince's way of thinking, now this may not be true, but at least how it seems, if things are doing poorly, he'll blame it on the lack of John Cena on the card, which is which sucks. But I also read a report that he is not really impressed with the NXT brand at all. Or at least the NXT success. And that may be true. It wouldn't really surprise me, all the stuff that I read about Vince. I don't believe most of it, but none of it would surprise me. if it turned out to be true. So I guess we need to just go ahead and hit Ambrose with the dirty deeds. One of the reasons I don't like that move is it looks like it slows down. The animation slows down like right before the impact. If it was a snap, if it had the same kind of speed as a DDT, I actually might have used the dirty deeds as a finisher. But it's okay. I actually wonder if Ambrose has the original dirty deeds, that front headlock driver, in his moveset. Or if they just put it in the game so other people could use it. It was a really cool move, I thought. I think he did it he changed it to a double arm out of respect for Foley, but I really liked that front headlock driver because I'd never seen it before. It was a brand new move in an era where you don't really see a whole lot of brand new moves. Do the high knee again, and at this point we're just beating the crap out of Dean. Tornado DDT. Show ourselves off to the 9-to-5ers. Good European uppercut. Now there's the flare knee. I actually found out in the Legends DLC that there is a traditional flare knee where he actually drops back a few steps and then goes forward. I thought that was kind of cool. Let's get our stamina up. I did not realize that we were a little bit low. Hey man, you are out of it, Dean. Perfect time to do this. Bust open that forehead. And can we pin? Yes, pin. I was more tired than I thought I'd be. Didn't matter though. Lana should be impressed with how devastating we've been during these matches. He tried to put up a good fight, just was not enough. And I'm not throwing a match to anybody. What I should have done is I should have just put on a 5-star match with Dean and then not lost, just to stick at the Authority just that tiny little bit more. It's gonna be weird. We haven't seen Triple H in a match in quite a while, and I'm really glad that he's defending his title before Mania. That bugged me more than Reigns being in the main event or anything like that. It was the fact that Triple H won the title, and it didn't look like he was going to defend it until Mania. So now that he has a defense, he's going to have a defense against Dean. I'm much happier about that. Week 3. Who we fighting? Reigns again. Wow. Perform 2 finishers during your match. Yes, sir and ma'am. And we didn't go up the rankings. What is that crap? To tell you guys the truth... Oh, we have a rival event. Alright. Well, what are we going to do here against Neville? Because there's nothing... Is Marcus going to show up and sit at ringside, or... We've seen a lot of the rivalry events already, but I wonder if they change here in the World Heavyweight bracket as compared to the IC. We will have to, Don't look now, but we got company. Okay. Neville seems to be happy. Oh, cool. Do I get to... Oh, I don't even get to do any of the interference options. That sucks. Thought that would have been cool.
These two superstars are in a standoff here. Wait a minute. He needs to stay focused here. He shouldn't turn his back.
Hi there, guy. Now here comes the the Polish hammer to the back of the head. Yeah, what's up with that, Roman? Same old, same old. To tell you the truth, guys, if I keep on getting matches with Dean and Roman, I'm probably going to skip them from here on out, just so we can start seeing something new. When I was talking about if I won the title, I was just going to skip through anything that wasn't a storyline. That might be the case on the grind up to the World Heavyweight Championship, because that's going to be kind of frustrating seeing the same stuff over and over, which I know we kind of have seen already, but I always had something kind of wrestling related to talk about. And I do not want that to go away. And I have to say, that is Lana's best look. That jean jacket and shirt she wears is just, I think it would look cool on anyone else but her. That suit jacket and that look is just tailor-made for her. Straight out of Rocky IV. So we need to make a statement here with Roman and just let him know who's boss. He calls himself the big dog now, if I recall. Or that's how it's the WWE's penchant for having to give people just stupid names. Like when they called Sting the Vigilante. You're kind of sitting there like, why? He's Sting. He doesn't need any kind of descriptor. It reminds me when the American Badass version of Taker would always, I'm the big dog and this is my yard. Didn't really work with Taker, and if it doesn't work with Taker, it's not going to work with Roman Reigns, or anyone else, really. There's a high knee for your trouble there, Roman. We're in a wrestling match. Got to come in here. I'm not a hardcore fighter. One thing that I'm actually somewhat interested about, because they keep on talking about Roman's family and his daughter and his wife and all that. I'm really surprised that his brother never gets mentioned. Probably because he had kind of a horrible, not horrible, but he had a less than stellar run in the WWE, and that was Rosie. If you guys remember Rosie from 3 Minute Warning, who were Eric Bischoff's heavies back in the day, and it was Rosie and Jamal as 3 Minute Warning, and Jamal, as a lot of people know, ended up becoming Umaga, who had a good run. But after 3 Minute Warning went away, Rosie became the superhero in training to the Hurricane. Don't get me wrong, I love the Hurricane. I thought that was a great gimmick, and Shane Helms did it wonderfully. But it's just one of those things that I hate it when they take big men, especially talented big men like Rosie was. Rosie could move, both him and Jamal, and just turn him into comic relief, which sucks. But that's Roman's brother. I'm really surprised that they don't just have him show up. I don't know. I haven't seen him. I don't know how age has treated him, because I have to keep in mind it's been 10 years since 3 Minute Warning. Oh, Lord. I'm old. What was it? It's 2016. It's been more than 10 years since 3 Minute Warning and Eric Bischoff as GM of Raw. Now, someone needs to refresh my memory, because I don't remember if I was really watching wrestling at the time, but I remember, was that the era when Bischoff was GM? That SmackDown was the A show, where they had the SmackDown 6. And if anyone doesn't know what the SmackDown 6 was, there was a time where Paul Heyman was actually the lead writer of SmackDown. And his storylines and everything that he did, a lot of people considered SmackDown to be the A show, that it was better than Raw, and it needed to be treated as such. And apparently it drove Vince nuts that Raw, which was his baby, his show, was being outperformed in terms of quality, and I think SmackDown was actually being watched more than Raw, which would be unheard of today. Because the SmackDown 6 were Eddie and Benoit and Edge and Christian, and I don't remember who the other two were. I think it was Chavo and one other, but the quality of the wrestling and the storylines were very Paul Heyman-ish. So it was classic, but still modern. And it made for some really good television. So, of course, they they fire Heyman. And that's the end of that chapter. Ow. Ow. Oh, that stunned me. Not good. Now we still need to hit 2 finishers during this match. Got to keep our eyes on the prize here. If Roman would stop reversing all of my stuff, we could get it done a lot faster. That was back when Stephanie was the face GM. That's kind of dating it, but all right, let's knock him out. And I guess we cannot do the spear. Well, maybe we can. Hold on. Is this a running attack? Yeah, I don't think we can here. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because that tries to send me. I remember I've hit the spear before. At least I seem to recall. There we go. I just can't move the joystick toward the turnbuckle. Ah, no DDT for you. That would have been horrible had he actually DDT'd me. But everything's looking good so far, and he is still reversing after taking his own finish. He's the chosen one. You guys remember Jeff Jarrett when he had that gimmick in WCW? When they really started pushing him as a super heel once he left the WWE. I remember that. That's actually a reason that Vince will never work with Jarrett. Now I know never say never in the WWE, but Vince made a point to like openly admit that Jarrett was pretty much SOL with the company. He was having a match with China, if I recall, for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a good housekeeping match, which was a horrible affair. But what had happened is, and this is a fault of the front office more than anything, they had actually forgotten, or they hadn't renewed Jarrett's contract. I believe Jim Ross was somehow to blame for it because he wasn't paying attention. And Jarrett, he said, "Well, I'll go. I don't have a contract, but I will work for you, Vince, for, like $250,000. Basically held Vince up and said, I'm not going to wrestle unless you give me X amount of money. Because, and I think how Jeff put it is he saw that was his position with the company. That's how much they cared about him, that they let his contract run out. And he's not the only person who did that. Apparently, they let The Rock's contract run out without even a thank you, and that's why he left for a long time, was because of that. But he held Vince up for like $250,000. Vince relented. He went out and had his match where Chyna became the first female Intercontinental Champion. And he actually used that $250,000 to help his starting capital of TNA, I found out. So that's pretty cool. But then he went to WCW and did his Chosen One gimmick where he won some world titles, and the rest is history. He has some great heat, though. Jeff Jarrett is an amazing heel. I performed 2 finishers. I guess they don't count the stealing a finisher as a finisher. That sucks. Well, now we know, and knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. I wonder if Sergeant Slaughter did any of those, because they used to have the more you know little vignettes at the end of a G.I. Joe episode with a member of G.I. Joe telling you about something you're not supposed to do or something you need to pay, the lesson of the day, to make up for the fact that it was just army folks shooting army folks on G.I. Joe. But I wonder if Sergeant Slaughter did any of those. I'm gonna have to look that up after I'm done. Lily crap. Yeah. Fatal 4-way, huh? Against Taker and Mark Henry and Dean Ambrose. Holy crap, what do you want me to do? Hold your opponent down using 3 working holds, and we're still favorable with the authority. By a sliver. Oh, that is going to be a long match. So I'll tell you what, guys. We're going to go ahead and make it a short episode today. And actually, the next episode is going to be on Sunday, so I can actually talk about the Madison Square Garden event, because I'll watch it by then. So we'll have a lot to talk about while I try to survive this right here. Good grief. But we will go ahead and end the episode here. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, go ahead and click like down below. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. That'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.